The first thing Ryan Callister noticed when he walked into old Melbourne Gaol alone at 11 o'clock at night was that the building breathed. Not metaphorically, not in the poetic sense that old buildings creak and settle. Literally breathed a slow, rhythmic exhalation that moved through the blue stone corridors like something enormous, drawing air deep into its lungs and releasing it again in a long, cold, deliberate sigh. He stood in the entrance and listened to it for a full minute before he convinced himself it was the ventilation system. It wasn't the ventilation system. He would spend the next 4 months trying to work out what it actually was. He never found an answer that satisfied him. Ryan Callister was 29 years old when he took the night shift security position at old Melbourne Gaol. He had worked security for 6 years before this: shopping centers, construction sites, a casino on the South Bank. He was not a nervous person, not imaginative in the way that makes darkness threatening. He was exactly the kind of man who should have been able to work night shift in a heritage building without incident. He lasted 4 months. Old Melbourne Gaol is one of the most visited heritage sites in Victoria. During the day, tourists move through the blue stone corridors in guided groups, photographing death masks of executed prisoners, peering into cramped cells where men and women spent years in conditions the 21st century finds difficult to comprehend. Children run their fingers along the stone walls and ask cheerful questions about hangings. At night, it is something else entirely. Ryan's rotation covered 3 levels of the main cell block: the exercise yard, the women's section, and the lower ground floor where the execution chamber was located. Full rotation every 90 minutes. Between patrols, he sat in the small security office watching 8 camera feeds on a monitor. His first night passed without incident. On his second rotation, at 12:40, he stopped walking. Cell 23 on the second level had its door open. All cell doors were kept open during visiting hours. After closing, the afternoon supervisor, a woman named Cheryl, was responsible for latching every door before locking up. Ryan had watched Cheryl leave. He had locked the main entrance behind her himself. Cell 23 was open. He latched the door, continued his rotation, reported it to management the following morning. Management attributed it to a faulty latch, scheduled maintenance. Maintenance found nothing wrong. Cell 23 opened again the following Thursday, and the Thursday after that. Always between midnight and 1 in the morning. Always Cell 23. Ryan researched the cell's history through the Gaol's own records. 11 prisoners had occupied it at various points between 1,845 and 1,924. 3 had died within the Gaol. 1 by suicide, a hanging, conducted privately within the cell using a strip of blanket. And 1, a man named Thomas Ashcroft, found dead on the morning of the 14th of March, 1891. With no cause of death formally recorded. Ryan found Thomas Ashcroft's death mask in the collection room. The death masks were among the most disturbing objects he had ever encountered. Plaster casts of actual dead faces, some eyes open, some closed. Most with expressions that were blank, erased, post-human. Thomas Ashcroft's eyes were open, and his expression, captured in plaster at the moment of death, preserved for over 130 years, was not blank. It was attention. Pure, focused, deliberate attention, directed at something nobody else in the room could see. Ryan put the mask back in its drawer. He started keeping notes. 3 weeks in, Ryan began hearing voices. Not clearly, not with the distinct quality of someone speaking nearby. More like the memory of sound, the acoustic ghost of conversation that had occurred in a space so many times, over so many decades, that it had embedded itself in the stone. A low murmur that rose to something almost distinguishable, and then retreated below comprehension. He heard it most often on the lower ground floor. The lower ground floor is where the execution chamber is located. The trapdoor, through which 135 men and women fell to their deaths, is still in place, painted dark red. The rope still hangs from the beam above it. Ryan hated that room on a cellular level, a visceral, pre-intellectual hatred the way an animal hates a trap before it understands what a trap is. Every patrol produced the same physical response: increased heart rate, shallow breathing, muscles contracting in his shoulders and neck. He could not suppress it regardless of how many times he experienced it. He mentioned this to Joe the cleaner, who worked the building 2 nights a week and had been cleaning Melbourne Gaol for 11 years. Joe listened. Then he said, "I don't go in that room anymore. Haven't for 3 years." "Why? What happened?" Joe was quiet for a moment. "Something touched me," he said. "Back of the neck. Light touch, like a hand. I was alone, checked everywhere. But that hand knew exactly where my neck was and chose it deliberately." He picked up his mop. "I don't go in that room," he said again, and the conversation was over. Ryan still had to go in. It was on his rotation. He started moving through it faster. Then, at the end of his 6th week, he stopped moving through it at all. 2:40 in the morning, Tuesday, Ryan came down the stairs to the lower ground floor and turned toward the execution chamber and saw a man standing in the doorway. His back was to the corridor. He was facing inward, looking up at the beam. Ryan processed it quickly. Security training before fear. Intruder. Someone who had found a way in. "Oi, security, don't move." The figure didn't move. "Turn around slowly and identify yourself." The figure turned around. Ryan called the police, not because the figure threatened him, not because it moved toward him. He called the police because of the face. The absence of one. He had the impression of eyes, a nose, a mouth, the structural geometry of a human face, but the details weren't there. Smeared. As though the face had been incompletely rendered, a rough sketch rather than a finished thing. Police arrived 12 minutes later, searched every room, corridor, and exterior space. Found nobody, no forced entry, nothing. The camera footage showed Ryan entering the frame, stopping, standing with his radio raised, then retreating toward the stairs. The doorway of the execution chamber, visible in the background throughout, was empty. The camera had seen nothing. Ryan went home and lay in his flat in Fitzroy, staring at the ceiling, running through every rational explanation he could generate. A person hiding before the camera caught them, a shadow formed by torchlight. Sleep deprivation. None of them fit. The figure had been too solid, too present, too precisely located in space. It had turned when he spoke. He went back the following Tuesday because he needed the money. He kept going back. He kept documenting. In his 4th month, during a routine patrol of the women's section, Ryan found writing on the wall of cell 4, scratched into the stone itself. Shallow cuts in the blue stone with the softened edges and oxidation of aged decades, not years. It was possible it had always been there, and he'd never noticed. The lighting in the women's section was poor, but Ryan had patrolled this cell dozens of times. He had never seen this writing. 3 words, scratched in careful lowercase letters approximately 3 centimeters tall. He comes at 3. He photographed it, reported it. The heritage team assessed it as consistent with the jail's operational period, somewhere between 1,845 and 1,924, made by a prisoner. Unknown which prisoner. Unknown which 3 o'clock. Ryan knew which 3 o'clock. 3 in the morning. The hour the voices on the 2nd level were loudest. The hour cell 23 opened. The hour the lower ground floor became something he could no longer make himself enter. Whoever had pressed a nail or a piece of wire against that stone wall and made those 3 words permanent had known it too. Had known it in whatever year they had done it. Had needed, for whatever reason, to leave a record. He comes at 3. Ryan sat on a bench on Russell Street for 45 minutes after that shift without moving. Then he called his brother in Bendigo and talked about nothing for half an hour just to hear a normal human voice. His last shift was a Wednesday in late autumn. The decision to leave was already made. Interview at a Docklands shopping center the following week. Days. He intended to take it without hesitation. He told himself the last shift would be like any other, professional. He would do his rotations, log his checkpoints, drink his coffee, and walk out at 7, having closed the chapter cleanly. At 3:17 in the morning, all 8 camera feeds went to static simultaneously. Not in sequence. All 8 at exactly the same moment. Ryan stared at the monitor, called the technical line. It rang out. He looked at the static on all 8 screens. Then he looked at the door of the security office, which he had left open as always. From the direction of the lower ground floor from the corridor outside the execution chamber came a sound. Not footsteps, not voices, not anything he had documented or labeled or filed away under careful neutral language over 4 months of trying to put distance between himself and what he was experiencing. This was something he had no category for. He sat very still and listened to it, and felt something he recognized from a specific moment in his childhood, a moment when he was 7 years old and had woken to find something standing in the doorway of his bedroom and had understood with the absolute animal certainty of a child that whatever it was not his parents. His body made the decision before his mind did. He stood, picked up his bag, walked to the main entrance, unlocked it, walked out, and locked it behind him, dropped the keys in the after-hours box, sent his resignation by text because he still hadn't sent the letter. He walked to Flinders Street Station and sat under the harsh platform lights and waited for the first train. The cameras came back online at 3:41, according to the system log. All 8 simultaneously, as they had gone down. No technical fault found, no cause, no explanation. The footage from 3:17 to 3:41, 24 minutes, was gone. Not corrupted, not scrambled, gone. Clean black on all 8 feeds, as absolute as if the recording had never happened. But at 3:14, 3 minutes before the cameras failed, the lower ground floor corridor feed captured something at the edge of frame. Just inside the doorway of the execution chamber, a shape, standing in the doorway, looking up at the beam. Ryan Callister works days now at the Docklands Center. He requested days specifically. He still has his notes from Melbourne Gaol in a folder on his phone. He has never deleted them. He has never opened them again. Old Melbourne Gaol continues to operate. The ghost tours run Friday and Saturday evenings. Thousands of people walk the bluestone corridors every year and go home pleasantly unsettled. Most notice nothing unusual. Some do. And those ones back home in their warm, ordinary lives, television on, dinner cooling, will feel something snag at them. A coldness behind the neck, a sound at the edge of hearing. A door that was closed being open. Small things, but persistent. Because Melbourne Gaol has been holding its dead for over 180 years, and the dead have opinions about being held. He comes at 3. He always has. He always will.